I really enjoyed doing my previous video of showing various DIY things that I've made, so I have plenty more things to show you, and this time they all roughly fit a more post-apocalyptic theme. So again, I'll start with accessories first. This is the most recent thing I've made, and it's just this length of, well, I guess you can call it crochet, that I did. Made loops with the yarn and pulled it through like you do with crochet, but I just used my fingers instead. So this was a very experimental thing. I started with this end. I've got all sorts of different sections as I was trying out different ways of looping it through, and I really love how messy and spiderwebby it looks. So yeah, and at the end I just did a single chain to finish off, which I think I will probably add on to this bit because it just looks a bit blunt at this end. Of course it can be used as a scarf, but also a belt, and just wrapping it around the body as well, so it can be used in all sorts of different ways. Now this next one is a collar that I made a short while ago now. Well, it's fabric that I've layered up to make it a bit more substantial so it can hold these spikes. These massive spikes I took off a mask that a friend gave me as a gift, and these spikes were way too heavy on the mask, and the mask was too big anyway. It's funny, they actually gave me that present several years before Corona hit. I never used it because it was too big and too heavy, so I took them off and used them to make this. And I just left this bit open like so, in case I needed to tighten them up at any point. I attached this buckle at the end, just from stuff that I had, and I used elastic so it's a bit more comfortable. And then I just had one single hole at this end because it's made for myself, so I don't need to adjust it any more than that. Yeah, I really love this, and I love that it's all black as well. Very much a statement item. And we have another choker. For Christmas, my dad gave me a load of leatherworking tools, including a selection of these rivets and a few poppers and such, and scraps of leather, which is what this is. And I just made this as kind of an experiment to try my hand at using the tools and such. So I don't usually go for any brass, and I never really wear brown, but I will definitely use this for post-apocalyptic outfits because it kind of goes with that. And it's actually ended up being double-sided, so I can wear it either way. They're not all perfect, but that's fine. I kind of prefer that. And the last neckwear thing that I have to show you, I made this many years ago now. This is a waistband of some old jeans, so it's a bit stretchy, very comfortable, and I put these ties on the back to do it up with, and I am considering changing them out for some hook and eyes because it's a bit annoying to do these up right at the back of your neck because it often catches my hair in it. And all of these cog bits are some more of those ones that I bought off Amazon ages ago. And I actually quite like that some of the cogs look a bit aged and weathered now. And I hand stitched all of these on quite messily, and I left this seam distressed. I usually wear it this way up, so it's got the distressing at the bottom. And I can wear it around my wrist as well if I do it around twice and tie it. And the final accessory, I think, Another thing that I've made very recently, this particular bit of webbing is a really thick bit. I just had this one length, so I decided to make a belt out of it. And again, if you saw my previous video, then you will recognise these black rings and other black plastic hardware. So the belt itself is fairly simple. Added in these 3 rings here, and then I made these bits to hang a bag off. And the bag itself I made as well. I bought a load of this ripstop fabric, and because it's very lightweight fabric, I added all these webbing bits to reinforce it with, and I went for 3 small clips to go on the front. And I've also got these rings on the bottom in case I want to secure it to my leg. And I can also wear this over my shoulder. This will be really great for festivals when you just need not a tiny bag but still a decent size. But then it will just fit all the essentials into. And I made it adjustable up here, of course, so I can wear it like this and as a belt. And I made these bits removable so I can move them around or just take them off depending on how I want to use it. And here we have this top. I finished making it quite a while ago, but I hadn't quite decided if I was done with it yet or not. And with this I thought, actually, I will leave it like this, because I was going to add more to it, but I really like it as it is, so I finished it here. The band around the bottom here is another waistband off a pair of jeans. I used the button, I used one of the belt loops to secure it. And here and there I've got some burnt bits, you can see that, just here and there. And for this strap in the centre, I sewed loads of washers onto that bit. This was already rusty when I found it, which was handy. And I think it's a picture hook, maybe. So I just made this bit on the other side to attach it to. And then some studs here. Lots of denim. I like to use denim for post-apocalyptic stuff. Down the side here we've got this strip of mesh that I've tied to secure the edge. A few studs through here. Lots of hand stitching, and I put some white acrylic paint on the thread as I stitch it through to add some more interest. And I really love how the back turned out here. This ring was off a belt that I got from a charity shop, and it does have some tarnishing here, so I thought it would be really good for this project. And I got some yarn stitched here as well, a few details here and there. And around here I've again got some mesh with this stud through it. And then across here I've got some really torn up fabric just to hold it all together. Despite all the bits of metal on this, it's really comfortable. And another top here. I actually wore this for a photo shoot a couple of years ago. I'll put some pictures up on the screen. So this was made from a huge leather jacket. I actually got given it, and I really loved the collar part of it, so I wanted to use that. And then I took off most of the other parts of the jacket and just kept these 2 front panels and this back section here. Chopped it really short and sewed it together just here so it makes a crop top. And I really like using genuine leather for these kinds of projects as well. I find that fake leather is just a waste of time. It always ends up flaking and being really messy and horrible, so I never use it anymore. Same kind of method as the other top, but with the mesh I used some of the acrylic paint on that to kind of bring it out a bit more. Yeah, lots of reusing old accessories, like this bit as a belt, and this bit here was a choker that I had, started cracking apart, so I saved the top layer, which I had added these eyelets into, and I sewed it onto here. On here, this is actually tape, and I used a bigger bit of it on the back. Just here. The previous top I completely hand sewed that one, but with this one I also used some machine sewing. I used a bit of yarn here, but a grey bit. And I quite like that the zip on this is brass, a bit more variety, and I put paint over these bits just to obscure the logo a bit, and I covered that one with mesh. And because I wanted to be able to use the zip, I removed it from the jacket before I cut it, and then I sewed it back in with the connector part at the bottom. And again, really comfortable. I get a lot of wear out of this one too. Another thing that I made recently, I like to keep all the scraps of fabric so then I can use them to make new things out of, and it just reduces waste, which is always good. This lace up part at the front, these PVC bits, the cut-offs of a corset top. Actually, I can show you the top. So this is the corset top that I cropped, and it just had plastic boning in. So I was always keeping myself upright and straight, not because the corset was keeping me like that, but because I didn't want to bend the plastic, because once you bend plastic boning, it doesn't go back. So I wasn't wearing it because it wasn't very comfortable to wear for me, so I cropped it, and now I absolutely love it. It did come with straps because they're buttoned on, but I lost them a while ago, so I made some new ones out of the PVC fabric I have, and I hemmed it with some ribbon. The sections that I cut off the bottom, I was thinking that I could use it to make a skirt out of, because I had the lace up parts that I would use as the closure, so that's where I started from with this. I like to just select a few different kind of textures so it looks more cohesive. So I have the PVC as the kind of main focus of it. I used a lot of this just thick stretchy fabric as the main filler, I guess, and I machine sewed the whole thing together. That was much quicker. And then for the edge, most of the edge, I used this canvasy fabric, which was cut off the bottom of a maxi skirt that I have, and it was several inches too long for me. So now that skirt is the perfect length, and I'll get much more wear out of it, and I really liked the fabric, so I used it along the bottom of this one. And then as kind of some decorative accents, I have a lot of this stretchy kind of tulle mesh, and it's nice and soft, which is why I kept it to use. Added a few long bits at the back, and then some old zips here and there. This jumper, I think, is the only thing here that I have that I didn't make entirely from scratch. I found this in a charity shop, and I did include it in, I think, the last charity shop haul that I did. So I'll link that if you haven't seen it. So I cropped it and cut off sleeve ends as well, and did lots of black embroidery all over it. On the seams I did this really messy zigzag stitch so it wouldn't unravel. The back part was much better to sew on, so I really like that's how that one came out. Bottom part that I cut off, I actually made into 2 different pairs of arm warmers, and I think I might actually sell those because I have this, and the arm warmers are very similar in style. I probably won't use them. I'll list them on my Vinted if I do end up selling them, which I will link below. And I actually really like the look of stuff that you can tell it's been DIY'd, which I would say this definitely gives that look. And because I had lots of leather left over from that big jacket that I mentioned earlier, I made some leg warmer bits using mostly that leather. However, I flipped it inside out because I really loved the textures that it had on this side, which I found much more interesting. So it's mainly just that, all hand sewn together. Most of the top part of this one is one of the cuffs from the jacket, and then a section of this, and then this one is completely made of that around the top. And this again is actually real leather, and it's a belt that I found in a charity shop that I had lying around for years and didn't know what to do with. And this one I did a lace up bit with. This is strips of t-shirt fabric and more of those cogs and a nut on here. And then, because they weren't quite long enough, I added this tattered fabric along the bottom just to finish it off. The final item, again, another top. This one I made a very long time ago. I wore it to Mariluna in 2018. Same sort of concept, mostly used denim to construct it. This one I also used some machine sewing with. I made a patch there as well with a radiation symbol. And with this I just put safety pins on the front to fasten it. I really like this random plate bit because it says made in Britain on it, which this top was in fact made in Britain. So it is accurate. For these shoulder plates, these are the backs of old badges that had already gone rusty like this, so I didn't do anything to make them look like this. That's how they ended up looking. So I flattened them out, hammered these nails through it, and also put some of the nails through the fabric. However, I think I will make these removable because obviously having these on it, it's not exactly practical for everyday wear, and I would like to be able to wear it on an everyday basis. And up the back I fastened it with staples. So this one is much less practical than the other ones, but it was my first top that I made in this kind of style. That was everything for this post-apocalyptic edition. I hope you enjoyed. I do have plenty more things to show. If you'd like some sort of specific theme again like this video, then let me know which theme you'd like me to show you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.